And that is why I will be honored when I walk into that courtroom on October 2nd. Well, my role is civil. But I will come back before you soon with a check for $250 million. And to let you know that he is no longer allowed to do business in the state of New York. Yeah, we've got a special charge to show up and stand up for one another.
May it please the court, Judith Vale for the New York Attorney General's office. All of the defendants repeatedly violated—
Ms. Vale, can you identify any previous case in which the Attorney General sued under Executive Law 6312 to upset a private business transaction that was between equally sophisticated partners, where the supposed victim had the ability and legal obligation to discover the allegedly misrepresented matters by conducting its own due diligence, where the supposed wrongdoer advised the supposed victim through written disclaimers to conduct its own due diligence and to draw its own conclusions, where the alleged misrepresentation almost entirely concerned inherently subjective valuations of properties and businesses?
Yes.
And where the victim never complained about any fraud in the transactional losses from it. Because I've gone through the cases which you've cited, and all of them always involved a consumer protection aspect. It involved protection of the market, which is what you have here. I mean, you've got two really sophisticated parties in which no one lost any money, and that was the point of my initial question. Every case that you cite involved where there was damage to consumers, damage to the marketplace. You've got a scheme to get unsophisticated consumers to take out home loans. You got a collapse of Lehman Brothers. You don't have anything like that here.
I think you hear underneath all these questions, the question of mission creep. Has 6312 morphed into something that it was not meant to do? And that's something you must address, because there has to be some limitation on what the Attorney General can do in interfering in these private transactions, as Justice Friedman said, that where people don't claim harm. So what is the limiting principle? I have a question that's similar to Judge Rosato's, actually, which is the immense penalty in this case is troubling. So how do you tether the amount that was assessed by Supreme Court to the harm that was caused here, where the parties left these transactions happy about how things went down?
Historical backdrop to this law, how do we draw a line, or at least put up some guardrails to know when the AG is operating well within her admittedly broad sphere of 6312, and when she is going into an area that wasn't intended for her jurisdiction?
It's not the criminal prosecution of Donald Trump, in which he was convicted of 34 felonies for supposedly falsifying bookkeeping. This is the civil fraud action against Donald Trump for the allegations were that he exaggerated his wealth, and as a result of those exaggerations got more favorable treatment from the banks.
Deutsche Bank case.
Right, even though Deutsche Bank said we didn't lose a nickel and we would do business with him tomorrow. The penalty was $500 million. 5 minutes ago, the appellate division of the Supreme Court of the state of New York, which heard the appeals 7 months ago, said this penalty is so extraordinary it violates the provision of the Constitution of the United States, which prohibits cruel and unusual punishments. We're throwing it out.
Oh, because as of today, the correct number, which it should have been from day one, is 0. Donald Trump's entire civil penalty, which with interest would have been $515 million, was just thrown out by the New York appellate court. Yeah, now, of course, the election is over, so they got their talking point during the election, which actually didn't help them at all, clearly. Trump won. Look, Trump noting this in his Truth Today, quote, "This is a case of election interference by the city and state trying to show illegally that I did things that were wrong, when in fact everything I did was absolutely correct and even perfect. Every single dollar was thrown out, even the penalties imposed on us by the corrupt judge." 5 New York appellate judges, all of one of them was appointed by Pataki, which Okay. All right. The rest were appointed by Democrats. All of them unanimously said, wait a minute. This penalty probably violates the 8th Amendment, which says excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. A $500 million fine for a, crime with no victim? That seems excessive. That's why this was a 5-0 decision. No dissent whatsoever. Now, they did uphold the ban on Eric and Don doing new business in New York, but very much teed this up for a higher appeal on the very, very thin merits of that aspect too. This court just removed the financial burden for Trump to appeal. Now, of course, Letitia James is also taking some weird victory lap, saying the court upheld the injunctive relief we won, limiting Donald Trump and the Trump org officers the ability to do business in New York. This is the first elected official in the history of ever that is applauding kicking jobs and a company out of her state. I mean, this is idiotic. She went on. She says, "We will seek appeal to the Court of Appeals to continue to protect the rights and interests of New Yorkers." Oh, you do that, lady. Once you get out of this out of the hands of a bunch of ideologues, this case is DEAD. It has no victims. The would-be victims said they love doing business with Trump, and the entire case is based on your stupid evaluation of Mar-a-Lago at $18 million. Good luck with that, Tish. Pretty much anyone with an IQ over 76 knows that this whole civil fraud case, actually pretty much all the cases, but this one specifically, was just a politically motivated hit job from an attorney general that campaigned on doing this type of bogus lawfare in a state that she knew, one, they tried to price him out of the appeal. That's what this fine was. This fine was all about making sure that he had to post the bond in order to appeal. And in true gangster style, two, also, she knew that Trump would be denied entering things into evidence that he needed to prove his innocence because this judge was nuts. Look at this guy. Looks like a mad scientist. Look at smiling for the cameras. He started the hearing right out the gate, just as a joke. This is a trial of the former and soon-to-be next president of the United States. But also, 3, she didn't care if it got overturned, because her only intent was to get a headline before the election. She also wanted to take him off the campaign trail. Remember, he had to attend some of these hearings during the height of the campaign. And, most importantly, she just wanted to cost him money. It was never about the law or the people of New York. If it was about the people of New York, she wouldn't have plugged in $10 million in the state budget for her own legal defense after this. The same thing with the criminal case. Some garbage hush money trial with Stormy Daniels is the same thing. Think about this. For the fact that Alvin Bragg, this guy, took 1 misdemeanor and made it 34 felonies over what amounted to be nothing more than a description of a reimbursement on a line item by a guy who went to jail for lying. You ever thought something was a business expense, honestly, in your life, and it wasn't? Oh, yep, you get 34 felonies by that logic. This is insane. Not to mention the fact that the judge, Juan Merchan, his daughter was raking in millions of dollars generating fundraising emails that were the subject of her father's case. Are you kidding me? It's like kangaroo court. Don't even get me started on E. Jean Carroll, where the state of New York that had to literally change the law. They couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal court, so they took it to a civil court with a new law that changed the statute of limitations in order to bring this BS. And then one of the guys who voted for that law, by the way, Kevin Parker, this Dem right here, got accused of somebody now that it was expanded, and then he called it unconstitutional. You people are just insane. His accuser was more credible than E. Jean Carroll, too. Trump's case had a plaintiff who couldn't remember a single detail of this alleged incident, with factual inaccuracies in her story that were off by sometimes nearly a decade. Then they put her in front of a New York court, and they found her credible? I mean, the weed in New York's gotta be great at that point. She has a cat named after her hoo-ha, an illegal gun that the cops had to confiscate after the trial, and went on CNN talking about how rape is sexy. What? That was the left star witness in a 40-year-old case with no witnesses, no details, and no specific? Okay. This is why Trump won again. America saw that you guys, the left, were trying to destroy him with lawfare. And we said, like, we are done with this stuff. Everyone associated with every part of one of these trials should be disbarred immediately. Like, one by one, these cases are just going to hell in a hand. You got the Russiagate thing, that fell apart. Turns out people abused their security clearance. You got January 6th, that one fell apart too. Looks like now it's probably staged. Impeachments, now this, they're all falling apart. The power to bring charges against an American citizen is like a major power. It should not be abused. And to deter that, there should be like incalculable, like biblical level, I'm talking Old Testament style penalties. 10 times the crime that they're trying to prosecute. Because if you have the power of the government, you shouldn't be abusing that. All these cases made the process become the punishment, and we should bury these people under the jail for it.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.